G'day you cheeky dogs! My name's Margie and I'm an Aussie currently living in America. Today's video is going to be a Bluey theory video and it's about the Bluey world. And is it existing in a post-apocalyptic type Earth, or is it existing in a parallel universe? So I'm going to break it down for you using all the evidence I found from different episodes as well as some YouTube shorts as well. And I'd love to know what you guys think as well, so hit the like button if you think that it's post-apocalyptic, or hit the subscribe and bell button if you think that it's a parallel universe. Or of course you could just hit both if you love Bluey as much as I do. So let's start off with the idea of the Bluey world being a post-apocalyptic style world where yes, humans once existed. So this is all based off one song that we hear in the episode Spy Game as well as in a YouTube short.
One man and a dog went to my one meadow.
Now, based off just this one line, basically, it gives us the idea that did men once exist in this universe or in the Bluey world? And did they have some sort of relationship with dogs like what we do on our world? So that gives us sort of the idea that maybe the Blueyverse is set far, far into the future, kind of Planets of the Apes style. Perhaps humans went extinct because of nuclear warfare, and because the humans are all gone, all the animals began to thrive. And a nuclear mutation caused a sudden evolutionary growth within dogs. Because of dogs' bond with humans, perhaps they began to sort of adapt and evolve to replicate their traits and their lifestyle as well. Maybe they use this interspecies bond and knowledge to advance themselves, to learn to walk on two legs rather than four, to create new technologies and rebuild the planet. But of course, they had some leftover behavioral traits like wagging, shaking themselves to dry, barking, a lot of what we see Socks do basically. And that could also explain why Socks is the way she is versus baby Bluey. Perhaps there's still, a little bit of genetic mutation that happens from now and again, and they still have some more dog-like traits, I guess, that they take a little bit longer to grow out of. Now, this theory is all well and good, except it is kind of debunked in the episode Flat Pack. We see the girls go through the evolutionary chain, basically, of how they came to be dogs, and I think they most likely learnt this from Bandit, who is an archaeologist, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in a second, because it plays into a little bit more evidence, I think. We see the girls basically play out the whole chain. They go from fish to frogs or frog dogs to lizards, then to dinosaurs. And again, this sort of proves that dinosaurs also existed on this earth. There were even T-Rexes as well. They then show them as birds, as furry little animals in the snow, which kind of looks maybe a little bit like mice, before eventually going into monkeys and then into cave dogs, not cavemen. They then find tools that help them advance their society and eventually finish off with space travel, which is a lot like our Earth, minus the cave dogs part and replace it with cavemen. This is what makes me think that this is based in a parallel universe and not a post-apocalyptic world. But I do have more evidence to support the parallel universe theory. In the archaeology short, we see Bandit basically talking about the first ever bipedal dog that they've ever found. He holds up a bone, which is the femur of the dog, and he says that it is 4 million years old. Now, if Bluey was set in a post-apocalyptic world, 4 million years into the future, that's a long way. And yeah, I mean, maybe it could happen, but I don't think so. And I still have more evidence to prove that I don't think it's post-apocalyptic. Now, my first set of evidence to prove that Bluey is more in a parallel universe similar to ours is some of the things that we find in Bandit's office. And the first one is the Sulawesi cave painting that we see in the episode Tradies. So up on the wall, you see this cave painting of a hog and 2 paw prints on it. This painting exists in our world as well. It is 45,500 years old, but of course, instead of paw prints, there are hand prints instead. And coincidentally enough, it was found by a man called Adam Brum. Does that sound familiar to you at all? Because it should, because he's the brother of the show creator, Joe Brum from Bluey. So just some fun little extra Easter eggs there. Now, also in Bandit's office, we see an Egyptian wall painting, I guess, as well. And it's so cool. If you look into the little details here, the hieroglyphics are like dog bones and dog paws. So I love that the creators here added those extra details in. But again, this is really similar to our world as well. It shows that we did evolve, that we had a massive society in Egypt as did the Blueyverse. They also had a massive society, had religion as well as culture. So again, I think this is proving that it's a parallel timeline. Now, we also find out in season 3 in the episode Pavlova that the Emu War did happen in the Blueyverse. There's a whole board game based on it. And in Australia, the Emu War happened in 1932. So I'm assuming here as well that the dogs maybe lost to the emus, or perhaps they won to the emus. I'm not sure, but in our real world, we lost to the emus. If you want to know more about the Emu War, definitely take a moment to go take a Google at it. It is hilarious. Now, further along the timeline, we know that there was some sort of jungle, perhaps Vietnam-based war. Granddad mentions this in the episode Granddad, where he tells the girls he could have used them in the jungle. And we know from pictures in Bluey's house that Granddad was in the military as well. So we can assume that they also had wars very similar to ours, as well as very similar timeline to ours as well. In the episode Sleepy Time, we learn all about the planets, and they are the exact same as the planets in our universe as well. And even all the technology in Bluey is very similar. Tablets, laptops, phones. They also have the same vehicle modes as us, so planes, trains, buses, ferries, all that sort of thing. So a lot of it obviously has developed the same time as us. But how do I know that it's the exact same time? Well, then the evidence comes from the episode Movies, where when Bluey and her dad and Bingo are going into the movies, they're watching the trailers, and the trailer for the Bee movie is coming up, and it tells you it's coming out in April 2020, which means that their timeline is coexisting with our timeline. And again, I really believe that that means that Bluey's world is a parallel universe to our world. But then what's with the song One Man Went to Mow that Bingo is singing? How does that work with the parallel universe theory? Well, perhaps in this Bluey universe, men or humans are mythical creatures just like dragons and unicorns. We know in our timeline that the idea of dragons came from people discovering dinosaur bones and believing that they were dragons. So maybe something similar happened in the Blueyverse too. Maybe monkeys did evolve, at least into the Neanderthals, but they never got past that Neanderthal stage. And so perhaps some of those bones have been discovered, maybe even by Bandit himself, but it has led to a lot of stories and myths and legends, just like dragons and unicorns. And one of those myths and legends leads to the idea of maybe man and his dog mowing their meadow. But what do you guys think? Do you think that it's a post-apocalyptic world, or do you think that it's a parallel universe? Let me know in that comment section down below. I really love the idea of this theory and the idea that maybe also there was a dog uprising, but I do think that it's disproved and that it is a parallel universe. I also have some ideas about how the dogs actually evolved rather than the monkeys, and I'm gonna make that as another video as well. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as that bell for notifications so you know when that video comes out. I also have a TikTok and an Instagram. Both of them are Aussie Girl Margie, so if you have the chance, definitely go and check them out. I'm going to try and be a lot more interactive on them, especially as I'm going to Australia soon. So I want to post a lot of sort of Bluey in Australia content, and I'm super excited to share that with you guys. So make sure you go and check them out. I'm probably going to try and do some giveaway posts as well on the Instagram too. So definitely make sure you head over to Instagram as well. But until then, I picked you out a few other videos that I think you might like to watch, and I will see you cheeky dogs in another video. Mwah! Bye!